This meeting is being recorded.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our eLotus webinar today. My name is Donna, and I will be your host and your moderator for today's class. Today's webinar is how to build a thriving practice during a pandemic with Jimmy Yen. A little housekeeping before we get started. Today's webinar will run from 9 to 6 p.m. and lunchtime. Jimmy, are we still doing lunch at 12:30 today? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So lunch will be 12:30 to 1:30, and there'll be 2 short breaks in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And Jimmy will let you know when they are. The lecture notes for today's class are available for download, and you can find them on the Blue Course Access page. And also, if you are going to be chatting today, please make sure your chat function is set to all panelists and all attendees. That way, everyone can see the comments that you are sharing. Because by default, Zoom sets it to all panelists, which means only Jimmy or the staff here at eLotus, only we can see what you're writing. And everyone and people like to see what you're writing. So please, again, set it to all panelists and all attendees. And Jimmy has said that if you have a question for him only, please type that into the Q&A box. And in the Q&A box, you will only, as a attendee, you can only see your questions. So you may not see everyone else, but Jimmy does repeat the questions, so don't worry about that. So again, if you have questions for Jimmy, type them into the Q&A box. And if you are going to be chatting in the chat room, please set it to all panelists and all attendees. That way we can all participate together. Okay, the quiz for today's webinar for our paid and Gold Pass members will be available tomorrow, and I'll send an email when that is ready. And the video replay will also be available tomorrow. Today's webinar, since it is practice management for the California Acupuncture Board, this class is approved for 5 CEUs under category 2. For all the other boards, it is approved for 8 CEUs, except for Florida and IVIS, there is no approval. So let me just repeat that. This class is approved for 8 CEUs with the exception of California. It's only approved for 5 CEUs, and for Florida and IVIS, unfortunately, there's no approval since it is practice management. There's different regulations among different boards. So I'm really sorry about that. Anyway, we have 3 groups with us today. Our first group is our Watch It Free group. Our Watch It Free attendees, you use the coupon code to sign up to attend today's webinar for free. You are basically auditing the class, and you are going to be learning all this great information today for free. So we hope you are able to take what you learn and apply it into your practice. However, if you want CEUs or you want to watch the class again, which is highly recommended because Jimmy gives so much information, you really need to hear it again. It's not a one-time deal. You can upgrade to our second group, which is our paid group. Our paid group gets the CEUs and the 4-week video replay. And if you want the biggest boost, which is our third group, our Gold Pass group. Gold Pass members have unlimited access to all of our online CEO courses in English. And you also, for Jimmy's classes, you get access to all of Jimmy's past classes. So he did a diabetes class in the past. And then yesterday, someone asked about a pulse taking class. And he does talk about pulse, how to read pulse in his previous courses too. So that's something that you don't want to miss out on. So again, our Gold Pass members, you have access to all of our online courses. So you have access to all of his video recordings, and you get CEUs for it. And on top of that, you get sponsor benefits. The exact amount that you pay for your Gold Pass is returned to you as a store voucher from Evergreen Herbs. And you also get a Helio 10% discount. All right, so let's get started with today's class. Let me go ahead and give you an introduction about Jimmy for those of you who are new to his classes. Jimmy Yin is a seasoned acupuncturist and herbalist with over 10 years of experience. He started his private practice, Achieve Integrative Health, in 2007 and built it into one of the largest acupuncture clinics in the Austin metro area, where they are focused on quick, effective, and long-lasting results. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Jimmy. I'll go ahead and stop my share here, Jimmy, for you so you can share your PowerPoint.
Awesome. Before I share, actually, thank you, Donna. Want to go over just a couple of things that Donna said for those of y'all who are new to me and have never seen me or watched one of my webinars, I do things very differently. Actually, I do things the opposite. And I do share, like Donna said, I do share quite a bit. That's just from my personal preference. The way that I teach my webinars are the way that if I was the attendee, like I was attendees in the past, what would I want from the presenter, right? And so there were certain things that I didn't like, and I wanted to make sure that I, as a presenter, I don't do those things that I didn't like. And so one of the things is holding back information. I hated when presenters held back information so that they could sell me another course, another certification course, and so that pissed me off. So you definitely won't get that from me. I always overpromise, overdeliver. So like Donna said, you definitely want to watch these back over and over. And I highly recommend the Gold Pass. eLotus did not pay me to say this, but I personally, as a presenter, I purchased my own Gold Pass. The reason you want to purchase that Gold Pass, just like what Donna said, that way you can really listen to what I'm saying today instead of, being so busy writing notes, right? When you get the Gold Pass, you can watch these videos over and over and over and over for a year, because each time you're going to get something new. You're going to miss something that I said because there's so much information today and I talk really fast. I get really excited about practice building, just in TCM in general. So let me know if I ever talk too fast. And because I get excited, when I get excited, I talk fast. Okay, because I want to over deliver. That is my goal. Over deliver. I don't want to under deliver. Okay, so get the Gold Pass. You also get the herbs. The credit for the herbs. I get that all the time, so I love it. Okay, so let's move on. Before I share, oh God, I saw some of the people that were. Hey Raymond, I saw people that were in yesterday's class. How many of y'all were in yesterday's TCM gastroenterology class? If you put in the chat, you were there. Yes? Arno, hey, Arno. Arno was there, Raymond, Tina, nice. A lot of y'all. Sweet. Beautiful. Wow, quite a bit of y'all. Okay, awesome. How many of y'all are new to me? Like you've never heard me speak and you know nothing about me? How many of you are completely new to me? Or does everybody already new? Nancy, you knew me yesterday. You already know me. Herman, you were there yesterday also. Okay. Okay, so we have a few people that are new, okay? So again, I met you with Dr. Tan years ago. Oh, Raymond? That sounds good. Nice. So like Donna said, there are two boxes that you can do. One thing is your chat box that y'all are doing right now. We are in the honeymoon stage. You're on your honeymoon? Wow, nice. Well, thank you for attending on your honeymoon, if that's the case. Sweet. Commitment. Nice. I love that. Chat is for me asking you questions and you answering them. The Q&A box is where you want to ask the questions, okay? Because the chat gets, people type so fast and it's just like, it goes too fast. So it's hard for me to look at the questions. So if you have a question that you want me to answer, type it only in the Q&A box. If you look at the bottom, it says Q&A. Okay, chat is for, hey, if we want to joke around and stuff like that. Okay, so that's where the chat. So let me share my screen. Let's see, PowerPoint. Okay, I'm going to go into presentation mode. Got my Q. Okay. All right. Can everybody see the slides? Yes, perfect. Awesome. Okay. So actually, let me stop share for a second so you can see me. One thing that I want to share with you today is how many of y'all, have the COVID has really put a damper on your clinic. Like COVID really just messed up your clinic, and you're just trying to, get back to where you were pre-COVID. Yeah. Closed for a year. Wow. Tough. That's tough. Yeah. Okay. How many of you are actually brand new practitioners? Like you haven't even opened your practice, or maybe you just opened your practice during COVID. Yeah, starting from scratch, brand new. Okay. I'm just trying to get an idea of where each person is at. Graduate in April. Wow. Fresh out the gate. Yunshin, same thing. Oh, I want to open it. Okay. So great. So for those of y'all who haven't opened, the first part of this is I'm going to teach you, if you haven't decided on a location, I'm going to share with you how to find the perfect location so you have instant success. Location, location, location. There's a reason why that saying is around. It is vitally true. Location, location, location. Okay. So when I first started, I don't know, even the ones that some of y'all who have been in practice for a while, and COVID hit you, one of the things that I, encountered when I started my practice in 2007, I started my practice in 2007 at the beginning of the US's worst recession, right? So it's very similar to some of y'all who are starting your practice during COVID. Something drastically happened in the economy, and you're starting your practice. I did that. That's the reason why this topic, how to build a thriving practice during a pandemic or any economical disaster, I did that. I started it at the beginning of the recession, right? And so what I'm going to share with you today is how did I do that at the Great Recession? How did I turn that into the largest acupuncture clinic in Austin, Texas? For those of y'all who are not familiar with Austin, Texas, we have 2 acupuncture schools. We have 400 plus acupuncturists in Austin, Texas, with a population. Back then, when I started, the population was a little less than 1 million. 1 million people, 400 acupuncture clinics, right? So one of the most saturated areas in the nation. So you could say I started my practice in the worst time, right? In the worst location. So whatever I teach you today, it will work anywhere in the world, anywhere, 100%. My systems work 100% anywhere in the world if you do them, right? So during that, I don't know if you felt, in the beginning, it's like you felt lost. It's like you didn't know, what do you do? Where to build the practice? Where do you open your clinic? How do you, start finding patients? How do you get new patients? How do you get patients to walk into the door? And then when you got the patients to come into the door, what did you do with them? Like, how did you move them along the process? Like, you did your initial visit, but then what, right? It's like there's so much of these confusions, so much of these details that I wasn't taught when I first started out. I had to learn it the hard way. Okay. I did hire coaches, I hired mentors, and some of them helped, most of them didn't. And so, I had to piecemeal together a lot of the information by myself. And that's how I created, my systems. So one of the things is that's, I'm going to share with you. And so I know the struggle that many of y'all are going through. I'll share a little bit more about the details of the data, the statistics of how I started, because that actually is crucial information for those of y'all who are starting off, or maybe your clinic hasn't really picked up. Maybe you've had your clinic for 2 years, 5 years, and it's still not where it wants to be. I'm going to share with some details. This first hour, the reason why I'm not sharing it right now, because this first hour is being live streamed to the public. So that's why I'm not going to share it this first hour. One thing you're going to get from me is a complete transparency, right? So I'm going to tell you why I do stuff when I do it. So after the first hour, that's when I'll go into more details, okay? But let's move on. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. So my intentions for today here's the outline. This is my outline. I'm going to first talk about my intentions. Then I'm going to talk about the rules for today's webinar. Then we're going to go over the finding the perfect location. And then we're going to break down what I call my acupuncture wealth system. Okay. So that's kind of the outline of what to expect for today. This is what we're going to go over today. So beginning, start with my intentions. My intentions is to show you the framework on how to build the practice of your dreams in any economical environment. Because last year was COVID, right? In probably another few years, there's going to be something else. Every 10 years, there's something that happens in the economy. So if you're depending upon the economy to build your practice, right, then you're going to always have the ups and downs, yo-yos, okay? There's a reason why last year, COVID was the best year of my 14 years in clinic. It was the best year during a pandemic. When I opened my practice in 2007 in the Great Recession, I was increasing my stats, my clinic success was increasing exponentially. While other clinics around me, 400 clinics around me, were on the decline, mine was increasing exponentially, right? So my intention today is to show you the framework. I don't have time to go over all the details, okay? But I'm going to show you the strategies behind it. And just like I taught in the class yesterday, if those of y'all were not in the class, strategy is more important than the details, okay? Number two, I'm going to show you a complete different way of building your practice of your dreams. Just like how I treat patients, my acupuncture system, my pulse taking system, my herb system, they're completely different from what we were taught in school, complete opposite. And they're actually different from majority of other teachers out there, okay? So that's the same thing on how I built my practice. Number three, I'm going to show you how to create the life that you want for you and your family, and not have your clinic determine the life that you can live, and help you design a game plan today. We're going to work on some action steps. Actually, you're going to write them out, okay? Because yesterday, what I did for the TCM gastroenterology course, I had people write out their treatment protocol, develop their treatment protocol for themselves. So today, I'm going to have you write out your practice building protocol today. Now, my mission, my second mission in life, is to help 1 million acupuncturists live a life by their design, by your design. How many of you would love to live a life by your design instead of living a life that your clinic affords you? How many of you, put in the chat, how many of you would like to design your own life? Nice. Beautiful. That's the goal. Exactly. Perfect. Arnold, yeah, clinic is only part of your income. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. So that's what we're going to go over. So how is my acupuncture wealth system different? It's simple to implement. It's very simple to do. Every one of you can do it. Every one of you can do it. The really only decision you have to make is are you going to do it? It's not complicated, okay? Every one of you can do it. Number two is duplicatable results. My acupuncture wealth, if something is not simple, it can't be duplicatable. Whether it's treating acupuncture, doing acupuncture, whether it's doing herbs, your diet, it doesn't matter. Practice building is the same thing. Practice acceleration, same thing. If it's not simple enough to duplicate, if it's not simple enough, it's not duplicatable. So all my systems are duplicatable, right? As many of the people who are attending today attended yesterday, they can testify that my systems are super simple, right? How do I know they're duplicatable? Don't just believe me, right? I'll share with you how you can find out more in one of my private Facebook groups. I coach acupuncturists from all over the world. My systems work in Australia, they work in England, they work in Canada, they work all over the US, West Coast, East Coast, Central, 100%. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. And that's the difference of my acupuncture wealth system. It's not like, oh, it works for some people and for other people, it doesn't work. No. My system works 100%. And number three, my system is focused on something that no other coaching program coaches focus on. I focus on net income, net worth. Most coaching, and I'm not saying they're wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm right, they're wrong. Everybody is right. I'm just saying my focus, my acupuncture wealth system is focusing on helping you get more net income, helping you increase your net worth. How many, let me type in the chat, how many of you prefer gross revenue and how many of you prefer net income? Who wants gross more than net? Or net more than gross? There's a big difference, huge difference. Some people say, obviously net. Some people don't understand that there's a difference, right? Exactly. You pay your bills with net income. You don't buy your house, you don't buy your car with gross income from your clinic. And why is this important? So if you're not taking notes, you should be taking notes. My mentor, one of my mentors told me, ink it, don't think it. Ink it, don't think it. You should be taking notes. I'm already dispensing information that will help you change your mindset so you make the right decisions for your clinic and yourself and your family. Gross income, some people can have tons of gross revenue. They can make $40,000 a month in revenue. What does that actually mean? It doesn't mean anything if their expense is $45,000 a month. So they're not netting anything. They're actually losing money by grossing $40,000 a month, right? That is not a sustainable business. It may look good. I mean, many of us, right? Many of you may say, oh man, if I ever gross 40,000 a month, I would be super happy, right? I'd be ecstatic. But what if that cost you 45,000 to gross that 40,000? Would you still be happy? Or versus another clinic. Another clinic grosses 20,000. Gross 20,000, but it costs them, their expenses are 10,000 a month. So they have a net income of 10,000 per month. They don't have the flashy, I gross 40,000 a month. Yeah, I'm awesome. I'm the shit, But they're making more. The person who's grossing 20,000 is making more net income and growing their net worth than the 40,000. These are the things that, that I've been through many coaching programs and they never talk about these things. And that's why I wanted to be different, because the gross revenue doesn't pay my bills. It doesn't pay my car payment. It doesn't pay my house payment. It doesn't, pay for the food for my family. It doesn't pay for my retirement. Net income does. Okay. That's number 3, what we focus on. Number 4, the acupuncture wealth system, owner manager versus owner investor. Who knows the difference between an owner manager and an owner investor? Well, actually, let me add one more thing. Owner doer. Okay, this might be a little more complicated. Owner doer is what many of y'all are doing. You're the owner of your clinic, but you're also the employee of the clinic. You're the doer. You do all the stuff, right? The next level is owner manager. You own your clinic, but you just manage the people. You manage your business. You manage the people. You're not the acupuncturist anymore. Okay? Owner investor is you own the clinic. You don't treat the patients and you don't manage. You just sit back, really, and get your passive income. Okay. So these are the things, how my acupuncture wealth system is focused on owner manager and owner investor. All the coaching programs that I've been a part only teach owner doer, which means how do I treat more people? Just how do I treat more? And I'm not saying you should not treat more people. This is not what I'm saying. I'm talking about what you want. What do you want? If you don't know what you want, you will never get what you want. So some people want to treat their patients. They want to always be involved in treating patients. Okay. Some people don't want to be involved in treating the patients. There's no right or wrong. What do you want? You want to be an owner doer, owner manager, or owner investor? Okay. So what really write down, I want you to write down, what do you want? Between those three, what do you want? All three? Well, if you're an owner investor, you're hands off 100%. Right? So that's what I'm saying. See, there's a lot of confusion. So you have to really think about, what do you want? Okay. All right, let's move on. How this webinar is different, it's going to be interactive. If you haven't really noticed already, I ask a lot of questions because I want you to start thinking. I want to teach you how to fish. I don't want to just keep feeding you fish. Okay. Because if I can teach you how to fish, you can solve your own problems. Right. And so in order to do that, I need you to think. And so the more you interact, the more you are going to benefit from today's webinar. All questions will be answered. This is something that I do. When I attended webinars, I hate it when I ask a question and I can't get an answer from the presenter. That was just, I was like, where I have to wait 2 weeks, a month to get the answer, right? And so I made it, I always, it's something I didn't like. So I want to make sure I don't do that to you. So if you have a question, that's what I'm saying, always put in the Q&A box. I will answer everybody's question. I will give you an email. If I don't get to it today, I will give you my email where you can ask that. And we also have a Facebook group that you can ask your questions there too. And I answer 100% of everybody's questions. This is what I do on my free time. I love doing this because my mission is to help 1 million of you, right, live a life by your design. And this is what I do on my free time. So we're going to have lots of fun. For those of the people that were yesterday's, we had a lot of fun, a lot of jokes. I apologize in advance for foul language. Okay. I do let it slip sometimes. I think I did a pretty good job yesterday of not cussing too much. Okay. But sometimes it slips out. And I use very elementary language. I use simplified language because if it's not simple, it's not duplicatable. Okay. Number 5, no theory here. This is based on my true story. This is not based on someone taught me to teach you. This is based on what I personally experienced. You'll be walking through my footsteps today. Okay. And I'm not here to tell you what you're doing wrong. I'm here to let you know there are other options. There's always options, right? Rules for today. Use the restroom right now. Actually, don't use it right now because we already started. But make sure when we take the breaks, you better use the restroom. I made the people have to hold their pee yesterday, and I apologize for that, okay? Because when I get excited, I get on a roll. I don't want to stop. And but I do realize, holding your pee is not a good thing. Ask questions. When you ask questions in the Q&A box, make sure you stay on topic, okay? If you have questions that are outside of topics, I will have time for you throughout to ask those questions, okay? Be respectful to all other attendees. Nobody has all the answers. I don't have all the answers. And remember, my philosophy is this. Everybody is right. Nobody's wrong. Everybody's right. So don't be judgmental and say someone's wrong. Everybody's right. How to get most of today. This is vitally important. You got to be open 100% of the time, mentally. Okay. 20%, you know what you know, and you know what you don't know. Your current knowledge, 20% of your current knowledge is what you know what you know, and then you know what you don't know. The missing 80% is what you don't know, okay? Little tongue twister. It's what you don't know, what you don't know. And that's what I'm going to go over today. You got to be humble, because if you think you're the shit, but you don't have data to prove that, you're not the shit, okay? Data speaks for itself. We can think we are the best practitioner all we want, but if we don't have the results to prove it, you ain't the best. So we got to humble ourselves, okay? If you think you already know it, you should have already done it. I'm going to be going over some simple things, right? And you're going to be like, I already do that. Well, if you already knew that, you should have been already doing it. And if you were really already doing it, you would have the result to prove it, right? So that's why we got to be humble. Again, I don't know everything. I can learn things from you, right? So I have to stay humble too. Stay focused on your goals. That's the reason why I asked you, do you want to be owner doer, owner manager, or owner investor? Here's the thing. Don't say you're all three. When you're saying you're all three, you're not focused on what you want. You're not clear about what you want. So figure out what you really want. If you can wave a magic wand, what do you really want? Okay. So stay focused on that goals and take tons of notes. Questions I want you to ask yourself to help you get clarity as to where you want to go. I forgot who said, if you, what is it? If you don't know where you want, if you don't know, I'm going to butcher that quote, but you have to basically, if you want to go to a destination, you have to know what the destination is. Otherwise, you will never reach that destination, right? So I want you to ask yourself, are you truly happy with your life right now? You don't have to answer, if you want, you can. Are you truly happy with your life right now? Be honest with yourself. And do you want more out of life? Is there something that's missing or something that you would prefer to have it this way? And do you want to create a better life for you and your family? Okay. If you want to create a better life for you and your family, right? I applaud you for showing up today. We got how many people? We have 118 people here. Yesterday, we had about 160 show up for my TCM gastroenterology. So less people show up for actually one of the most important things to provide a better life for you and your family. Even though I taught the technique course yesterday, technique is not going to build a better life for you and your family. This is me being transparent with you, okay? You need to produce results, yes, but that's only a small part of creating a better life for you and your family. So if your goal is to create a better life for you and your family, I applaud you for being here, because we're going to teach you, we're going to go over that today. We're going to share with you how the framework to do that, okay? Angela said, if you don't know where you're going, every road will get you nowhere. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Angela. All right. So finding the perfect location. Now, what I'm about to go through applies to every one of you. Doesn't matter if you've been practicing for 20 years and you already have your location, because I'm going to tell you the thinking process behind all of this. And through that thinking process, it will help you determine what tweaks you need to make to your current practice. And for those of you who haven't opened your own practice, this will help you find the right place, okay? So don't tune out just because you already have your clinic. Remember, I always over-deliver. And like Donna said, I share more information. I share tons of information. So the 4-step formula to finding the perfect location: what, when, where, how. Let's go for number 1. Step 1, what? What do you actually want? See, this applies to everybody. So I want you don't have to do it now, but if you can, you can. What do you actually want? How do you picture is your perfect life? When you can design your life, what does that look like? What does that look like? Where are you living? Are you in a single family home? Like my wife and I, we want to live in a condo in downtown Austin, right? And so that's where we want to live. Where do you want to live? Do you want a 2-story home, 3-story home, 4-story home? I don't know, right? How much land do you want? Do you want an acre, 100 acres? What kind of car do you want to drive? Right? What do you actually want? Just like Angela was saying, if you don't know where you're going, every road will get you nowhere. If you don't know where you're going, you won't get anywhere, right? If you don't know what you want, what are you striving for, right? What type of life do you want? What do you need to have in your life for you to be happy? For you to be happy, you need to be happy. And then think about your family. What do you need for your family to be happy? Maybe your family happy makes you happy. So what do you need for your family to be happy? Do you want your kids, if you have kids, some of you may have kids or want kids, do you want your kids to have a big farm, right? Or maybe you don't. Maybe you want them in a specific neighborhood. So figure out exactly what you want. I wrote all these questions to help you decide what you want. And I want you to write this down. This is why it's step one. This is the most important. Most of the time, including myself, right? We think when we're opening a clinic or we're making a decision about our practice, we think about the last step first instead of the very first important step. What do I want? This is how to design a life that you want and not let your clinic design the life that you have to live. So what are your non-negotiables? This is very important. What are some things that you're like, I have to have this. I need to be in a neighborhood where there is no crime or very little crime because I want to raise my kids. I want to raise my kids in a neighborhood where, we can leave our doors unlocked and not be afraid that someone's going to come in and rob my house. I want to be in that type of neighborhood. Those neighborhoods are actually pretty hard to find, okay? But you have to set your goals, right? So what are your non-negotiables? Like, I have to live by the water. Maybe that's one of your non-negotiables. I have to have a farm. I have to have enough land so that I can, build a garden. And then you're going to ask yourself, what type of practice do you want? Do you want a relief care practice? Do you want a corrective care practice? What type of practice do you want? There's a huge difference, right? If you want a relief care practice, then you're going to constantly need new patients. Like, you need a flood of new patients. Does anybody not understand what a relief care practice means? If you don't understand the terminology I'm saying, please type into the Q&A so that I can elaborate. Does anybody not understand what a relief care practice is compared to a corrective care? Okay, please elaborate. Okay, so relief care practice basically means patient comes in with pain. I'm gonna use pain, it's very simple, okay? They come in with back pain. You do treatments and you take away the pain. You do 3 treatments, takes away the pain, and then you discharge them. That's a relief care practice. A corrective care practice is they come in with back pain, 3 treatments, you take away the pain. But you take it the next step. You correct the cause. What was causing the pain in the first place? You fix that cause so that the result is that their back pain never comes back. So it's a longer process. The patient has to stay with you longer because you have to correct the problem. And you're making sure the focus is to make sure the pain doesn't come back. Relief care is just taking away the pain. That's it. Can y'all see the difference? So if you have a relief care practice, and let's say you can eliminate their pain in 3 treatments, then you constantly need new patients. Because after 3 treatments in 1 week, that's it. Next week, they're not coming back. So you constantly need more new patients to come through your clinic if you are a relief care practice. You need less new patients if you're a corrective care practice, right? You see how this applies? It doesn't matter if you already have a location. For those of y'all who've been practicing 10, 15 years, you need to determine this. Do you want a relief care practice or a corrective care practice? This will help you determine the location of where to open your practice for those of y'all who don't have one. Okay. Now, next one, owner doer. I already asked this. You want to be an owner doer, owner manager, owner investor. They're three separate things. They're not the same. You're not you're not all three. You're only one of them. You're either the one, you own the clinic, you own the clinic, right? So the doer is you're treating all the time. Okay. Manager is you're just managing. You're managing the day-to-day. Investor is you never have to step foot in your clinic. It will grow without you. Okay. So you got to decide what you want. Next, how much money do you want to take home? Net income. How do you determine that? You determine that based on the questions above. See, what do you actually want? Your house, your car, where do you want to live? Where do you want to live? Right? Where do you want to live? That will determine how much net income. See, money comes later, but everything can be quantified, right? So you want to know where you want to live, what type of house you want to live in, what car, how many times you want a vacation, where do you want to go on vacation? All of that will determine how much money you need, net income, right? So many of us, we look at net income first and like, oh, I want to take home 100,000. But why? Why do you want to take home 100,000, right? And if you focus on money, then you will quit more easily. If your number one thing is, I want to take home this amount of money, and that is your focus, this is not right or wrong. This is just my personal experience. If you focus on just, I want to take home this amount of money, that's my goal, and I focus on that first, then when hardships occur, like COVID, when you hit speed bumps, road bumps, you're going to want to quit. Versus if your focus is on providing the ideal life for my family, for my kids, my siblings, my parents. Like, I got to take care of my parents. I got to take care of my parents and my in-laws. I got 4 people I'm responsible for, right? And so my focus is on that. So when my focus is on that, my family, when I encounter hurdles, obstacles, quitting rarely comes into my mind because I'm focused on that. Does that make sense? Right? So that will help you determine your net income. And based on that, see, taking it step by step. Once you know your net income, then you got to also look at how much are you working per week in and out of your office. What is your ideal situation? How many hours per week do you want to work in your business and on your business? Right? You got to determine that. And then the last one is, what type of person do you want to be? What type of an example, if you have kids, what type of example do you want to be for your kids? This step one, the reason why I'm taking so much time, is the most important step. Regardless if you're trying to find a location for your clinic, or if you're just trying to get out of the slump from COVID, or if you're just trying to scale up and accelerate your business. This step, number one, is the key. Okay, let me stop and see if there's a question. Okay, Lucas asked, what do you do if patient requires a few months of therapy in order to get significant improvement, but seem to lose motivation because of the cost of treatment? Yeah, great question, Lucas. So that's a side. I'll answer it right now very quickly, but I'm not going to, because we're going to stick on this perfect location, right? When that happens, people don't lose motivation because of the cost of treatment. People lose motivation because they're confused. They're confused about what the treatment's doing. They have no idea what the treatment's doing. So it's a communication issue. It's not a cost of treatment issue. Okay. So you have to figure out, what are they confused about? Why there's something that they don't understand. You may have told them once, but they forgot it and they don't understand. So they forgot about why you're doing your treatments. What's the purpose of your treatments? So what you need to do, the solution, here's the thing, never present a problem without presenting a solution. Okay. That's my philosophy. So for me, here's the solution. Talk to them and say, hey, what's going on? Why, are you missing your appointments? Let me see. Are you clear about the purpose of why we're doing our treatments? What's the goal that we're trying to accomplish, right? So I would have that conversation. And once you establish their goal, right, and then they understand that, oh yeah, these treatments are going for that. These treatments are going to help you achieve your health goal. Money goes out. Money no longer becomes an issue. Money is an issue because it's an issue for you. And it was for me too. And we'll talk a little bit about that later today. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so here's the exercise. I want you to write out the type of life you want to live. Ooh, we're going to do, this is interactive. Remember, who wants to be a volunteer? Who knows? Who already knows what type of life they want to live? Type in the chat. Who already knows? Sarah Moon. Okay, we'll use Sarah Moon. So what type of life do you want to live, Sarah Moon? Well, while we're waiting for Sarah to type that out, what type of life? I want to live half remotely from office. Okay. If you want to live half remotely, does it matter where your office is located? Sarah, we're going to stick with Sarah, okay? She volunteered first. See, if you volunteered first, I'm going to role play with you, and we're going to deep dive with you right now. I'm going to help you figure it out. Sort of matters. Okay, so can you see, Sarah, that you're unclear about what you want? You have the answer has to be yes or no. So you have to get clear about exactly, you want to live half remotely, but does the location of your clinic matter? Because if you're half remotely, then you're living half in that city. So what type of city do you want to live in? Forget about your clinic. You want to be half, well, actually, maybe I'm interpreting this wrong. Maybe you're living in the same city. You're not necessarily living like somewhere else, like 100 miles away, right? You're still living in the city, but you're just not physically in the clinic. You're only physically in the clinic half of the time. Is that what you mean, Sarah? Live half remotely from office, live abroad and manage my career abroad internationally. Travel to my office once a quarter or every 2 quarters, have the means to live the lifestyle I did before switching careers. I work very hard and want to work hard, but not survive mode. Okay, great. So perfect. Thank you, Sarah. So you want to live abroad? Great. So does the location, you want to live abroad, live half remotely from office. So that means half of the time you are living, or quarter, every 2 quarters, you're living in that city. So does that city really matter? Because you're not there all the time. That would be a question that I would ask. I would ask yourself, right? Because if it's no, then you can pick any city in the US, right? You can just pick the ideal situation where your clinic could thrive, right? And remotely, I also practice functional medicine and can do it remotely, but I still love doing acupuncture and helping patients. Yeah. So for me, Sarah, in order to help you achieve that goal, functional medicine, yeah, that can be done telemedicine, right? You can do that remotely. Doing acupuncture, you still love doing it. So it sounds like you just want to be able to, every quarter or so, go stick some needles in people, help them out, but then you still want your clinic to be running without you. So that means you, right? Am I correct in assuming that? Yes. So that means perfect. So that means you need associates. You need to have a team that will run your business. So you're going to be like that model owner manager. Okay. So can I also have a practice in the secondary where I practice acupuncture 2 or 3 days a week? You can. You can have Sarah, you can have anything you want. Okay. Not that you need my permission. You have the permission to do anything you want. Remember, this is a life by your design. It's not right or wrong. It's your design. So if you design it, it can happen. So you want to live. So that means you're going to open a second clinic. You have one clinic in the US, one clinic international location. You need 2 teams. You need to hire 2 teams so they can manage it so that you can hop from one to the other and then hop to abroad somewhere else, right? So you're going to be in that owner manager position because you want to still be able to go in and do it, right? So your owner manager, right? So start from there. Start from there, find out which location in the US, okay, that you want to live in. And then internationally, which location do you want to be, which country you want to be at, right? But before you, I would say, write that all out. That's your goal. That's your final destination, okay? So you have one clinic here, another clinic international, and then you need 2 teams. So your goal will be have 2 teams. Then you can start what I say, work backwards, figure out what it is. What details you need exactly. You need 2 teams, one in the US and the international. Then you got to find location. See, this is how it helps you find the perfect location. You need a location where you have access to a good pool of people because you need employees. So you can't open, or it's not you can't, it will be hard to open a clinic in a remote area. If you open a clinic in a remote area that has, like in a city that has a population of 1,000 people, it's going to be very hard to find employees. So in order to do what you want to do, they have to be, ideally, they don't have to be, ideally, you want to be in areas close to big metropolitans. You don't have to be in the metropolitan. You can be outside of the metropolitan, but you'll have access to tons of people that will potentially become your employees. You see how I'm working backwards? This is what you got to do step by step. Okay. Sarah, does that help? I'm not going to go through the whole thing, okay? Otherwise, we'll be here today. We'll just be talking about Sarah's practice this whole day. But I wanted to just to give you, oh, you're in my Facebook group. Okay, perfect. So I wanted to give you an idea of how to think through the process of finding your location. Okay, this is the process that nobody taught me. I had to figure it out myself. Okay. Because most people are thinking about, oh, let's get new patients, let's get your new patients, let's get your revenue and blah, blah, blah. And then you build your practice and you grow it. And then you're like, man, I hate my life. Right. I don't know if any of y'all experienced that. It's like you build a successful practice, you hire coaches and you get all these patients and you're treating, and then you're living in a city you don't like. You're raising a family in a city, in an area you don't like. You're stuck in your practice, right? So this will prevent that. All right, let's move on. Step 2, when? When do you want to attain what you want? So like in Sarah's situation, she wants to do those 2 things, right? So then you got to set a deadline, a timeline. When do you want to accomplish that? Do you want to accomplish it within 10 years, 5 years, right? Because that timeline will tell you how much work you got to do, right? So you have to determine a timeline. If you don't set a timeline, you won't ever do it. Period. You need to have a timeline. In what time frame? Okay. All right. Let me answer some questions. Nancy Gilliam. I'm aiming towards retirement. Do treatments for homeless veterans for free and regular patients on donation basis? Not sure I want to continue donation basis, but not sure how to transition patients to a fee. Okay. Yeah, there's actually a few acupuncturists that used to do that here in Austin, the exact same model, right? So I applaud you for wanting to help the veterans for free. They definitely need our help. I mean, we treat a lot of veterans in our clinic, and yeah, the government does not take care of the people who sacrifice their lives for our freedom. And so thank you, Nancy, for wanting to do that. Not sure how to, yeah, how does transition from donation based to patients to a fee, transition to get them to pay, is a communication. It's all communication, which we'll go through. Okay. I mean, towards retirement. But in order to provide treatments for homeless veterans for free, you need to have a sustainable business that can sustain your lifestyle so that you can offer those free treatments, right? So for those of y'all who want to provide free treatments to people who can't afford acupuncture, you can still do that, okay? You just have to do it in a different way. The different way is you got to build a successful clinic. So you have to build a successful clinic so that it can take care of your life first. It's hard to help someone else when you are struggling yourself, right? So you have to take care of yourself first. This part, you got to be selfish. You got to take care of yourself first. You got to be able to live your living expenses, eating, so forth. Your family, if you got kids that you need to support, you need to take care of your family. If you can't take care of your family, how can you take care of someone else? Right? So take care of your family first. Homeless veterans are non-negotiable. Yes, Nancy, I wasn't saying that you charge for homeless veterans. I'm saying you need to build a clinic that's successful so that you can provide free treatments for the homeless veterans. The clinic is treating paid patients, but then that gives you the ability to provide free treatments. You can have a separate clinic specifically for homeless veterans, and it's all free, but you need money to build that up. Okay. All right. So when, you got to figure that out, and then where. See what, when, and then where. Just like I did it with Sarah. What did you want? And then when do you want to achieve it? Then that will determine where. Okay. Where do you have to live in order to get what you want? So with Sarah's situation, I mentioned that in order for her to be living abroad, she needs to build a team, and building a team is not easy. So you need a big pool of people to hire from. So that what she wants determines where she has to build it. She has to build it around areas of population so that she can constantly hire, her team can constantly hire people, right? All right, when you want it based on how much you want to work. If you don't want to, now here's another situation, the complete opposite. Some of y'all may think, oh, I don't ever want to work 80 hours a week, right? And for me, that's how I started my practice. I worked 80 to 90 hours a week. Actually, I still do, but when I first started out, I worked 80 to 90 hours a week. And most people don't want to do that. So if you don't want, it's not right or wrong. If you don't want to do that, then that will determine where's your perfect location. So what do I mean? What do I mean by that? If you open your clinic in an area where there is zero competition, you can work however many hours you want to work. That's the benefit of no competition. And that's my second point. Competition absolutely matters. No one's going to tell you that. All the coaches that I went through, competition doesn't matter. There's more than enough people for every acupuncturist. I mean, I agree. There's more than enough people. There's 7 billion people. But that's not why competition matters. Competition matters because it will determine how much work you need to do. If you're in a city, I've coached people who are in areas where there's no competition. They can do whatever the hell they want to do. They can work however much they want to work. Because if people in that city, in that area, want to have acupuncture, they can only go to that acupuncturist. Okay? There's pros and cons. I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm just giving you the data, the facts. So if you say you're just starting your clinic and you only want to work 20 hours a week, and that's all you want to work, okay? Then the best location, perfect location for you to achieve that specific goal is to get into a city where there's zero competition. There's no other acupuncture clinics. There's nobody else doing acupuncture. No PT doing acupuncture, no DC, no MD doing acupuncture. Nobody's doing acupuncture. There are many areas around the US that still exist. So for those of y'all who like to live in the what I call the boonies, okay? So that's how much you want to work will determine where you open your practice. Second thing, insurance matters. Not everybody in today's webinar wants to take insurance. I shared yesterday, 20% of my practice is insurance. 80% of my practice is cash. I love insurance. You probably never heard an acupuncturist say that, right? I love insurance and I want more insurance. But in Austin, Texas, we don't have that coverage. The insurance sucks. And I hear acupuncturists from California complaining about insurance. I hear acupuncturists from New Jersey, New York, East Coast complain about insurance. I'm like, I would love the insurance that you say y'all are saying in California it sucks. Guess what? We don't even get that. We don't even get that insurance in Texas. So I would love it. See, it's all relative, right? I would love to have California insurance. I would love to have East Coast, New Jersey insurance, right? It's all relative. Why does insurance matters? Insurance, if you want to build a team, right? You want to build a team and you don't really want to train too much and improve your skill set. Insurance absolutely matters. Because if you are a cash 100%, everybody's saying, oh, it's so much stress-free to have 100% cash practice. Okay. It is not stress-free for 100% cash practice. If you have a 100% cash practice, you need to be a great communicator. If you're not a great communicator, you can have 100% cash practice, but you will have a hard time building your ideal lifestyle. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Demographics matters. Demographic absolutely matters. Oh, going back to insurance. There's another thing. The Veterans Choice Program. Since we're talking about veterans, how many of y'all are treat the VCP program? Use the VCP program. Brianna's one, yes. It's now CCN. Okay, yeah. Some of us have, yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, I love the Veterans Choice Program for a number of reasons. One is because it's helping veterans, but two, you don't need to have any communication skills because all you need to do is be able to produce results. I know a few practices that have built very successful in a short amount of time because they got over 50% of their practice is the Veterans Choice Program. The Veterans Choice Program pays the highest, for those of y'all who are not familiar with that, they pay the highest compared to all other insurance companies. Okay. So what that means is like some insurance companies, most insurance companies, let's say you bill the insurance company $100 for your acupuncture. And the insurance companies may maybe pay you $80 of that $100. Maybe. I would say probably $70. I'm just making numbers up, okay? So the Veterans Choice Program, in the past, sometimes they would pay 100% of that. So if you charged 100, they would pay 100. Now this year, since COVID and all this stuff, it's all wonky. But still, they are paying higher. They may pay $90 when you bill $100. Still $20 more than regular major medicals pay for. Okay. This is all relative. I'm telling you the facts. I would love to have tons of VCPs. Okay. because then I won't have to teach my associates how to communicate with the patients. That's the benefit of insurance. I'm telling you all the details of it. Most acupuncturists are stuck in the, oh, I don't know how to bill. I hate billing. I hate submitting. I hate denied claims. That's actually easy. You're not looking at the benefit of it. If you want to, now, if you're just a solopreneur and you want to stay as just you're the only acupuncturist, then yeah, you don't need to go through all that hassle. But if you want to build a team, like we were talking with Sarah, you want to build a team, it takes training to get a team to produce. Having insurance coverage or the Veterans Choice Program decreases the amount of training you need significantly. Okay, these are the facts. So this will help you determine where you want to live. Where do you want to open your practice? I know along the East Coast, Southeast, Northeast, those are two areas. I know two clinics. One of them actually is $1 million clinic because they treat predominantly a Veterans Choice Program. And another one who grew his practice super fast within just 2 years to about $500,000 because he is a veteran himself, and he also has the connection, and he has no competition. Okay, so I'm telling you, this is how to find the best locations. All right. Okay. Where? Owner doer, owner manager, owner investor. Just like I was telling with Sarah, she wants to be an owner manager. So where she has to have that access, whether to insurance, whether to employees. I would say more employees. Employees in her scenario would be the case. All right. Okay, let me answer some questions. Oh, no questions. Okay, let me move on. How? Step 4 comes to the how. Most of us start with the how and work our way backwards. If you do it that way, you're not living a life by your design. You're living a life by your environment designing it for you. So after you know the answers from step 1, 2, 3, then you work on the how. And you work on the how by quantifying steps 1, 2, 3 and do the math backwards, right? So you'll never reach your destination if you don't know where you're going, right? So like with Sarah's situation, since we used her as a case, she wants to, Sarah, I would say you want to have 2 clinics. You need to build a team, right? And you're going to travel a lot, right? So then you got to think about, hey, where do you want to live? Do you want to live in the area where your international clinic is, or do you want to live in a third location? So then you have 1 clinic in the U.S., 1 clinic in the U.S., and then 1 clinic in international, and then you want to live somewhere else. So that's 3 locations, right? So where do you want to live? Right? So figure that out. And then you got to determine how much money do you need to be able to live there? How much money do you need to open your clinics in those specific locations? Right? So does that make sense? Is everybody following me? Or is everybody lost? Yes? Okay, great. Great. Has this been helpful? Perfect. Nice. Okay, good. This is the first step, okay? Because if you don't even do this, every strategy that I teach you, it ain't gonna work because you're not focused. You're getting distracted. You're getting distracted by all these shiny new objects instead of staying laser focused on what you want. So you got to figure out what you want. Okay. Let's go on. So 100K net in your first year location. If this is one of your goals that you want to net 100, let's say that, you know, you know, you need 100,000 per year in order to live the lifestyle that you want and for your family. So this is where I'm listing this is how you find the location, okay? The where. None to little competition. This will give you the fastest results in the shortest amount of time. None to little competition. An area where you have access to the Veterans Choice Program, great insurance coverage, and an area where you have connections. If you can find an area that meets all four of these, you can grow exponentially fast. See, so some of y'all are saying, oh, insurance sucks, right? You see, you're getting distracted. You're getting distracted by insurance versus focusing on your goal, versus focusing on the life that you want to live. You're letting the hurdles of insurance dictate the life that you're going to live instead of you dictating the life that you want. And I'm not saying you to take insurance. After me consulting, coaching acupuncturists all around the world, these are the shortcuts that I'm sharing with you. Okay. So if you want to let something be in the way of your own dreams, then I would say, do you really want what you want? Maybe you're unclear about, just like the Lucas was saying about the patient saying, hey, they lack motivation to continue the treatment plan. You're lacking motivation towards your goal. So what does that mean? If you lack motivation towards your own goal that you set, that means you didn't set the right goal for yourself. So then you have to go back to step one. What do I want? Okay. Okay, Acupuncture Wealth System, 6 steps to success. This is where we're going to go over. This is part 6 steps of my Acupuncture Wealth System. Step 1, after I go over this, we're going to take a break, okay? Lead generation, that's how to get new patients. So once you get them in, how are you going to onboard them? New patient onboarding process, okay? And then once they start treatments, what do you do then? What's the plan? So number 3, we're going to go over treatment formulation. And then once you give them the plan, how are you going to keep them on the plan? It's kind of what Lucas was talking about. How are you going to keep them on the plan? On the plan that you wrote for them. Patient retention, right? And then number 5, how can you work efficiently? Most, I would say probably 99% of acupuncturists do not want to work 80 hours a week. Would y'all agree with that? Probably 99.9% would not want to work 80 hours a week, right? So that means 30 hours, please. Exactly, right? So that means you have to be efficient. How do you be efficient? Your office flow, your patient flow, your scheduling rules. You need to be exact and precise on those. We're going to go, guess what? We're going to go over all that today, okay? And then for those of y'all who want to expand, who want to hire, you don't want to be a one-person show, right? So we're going to go over a little of what to look for in hiring and how to expand. Okay? Does that sound good? Everybody excited? Sounds great. Nice. Great. Awesome. Perfect. It is 10:15 right now. Okay. So we're going to take a 10-minute break. We will be back at 10:25, please. All right. I will see y'all in 10 minutes.
The recording has stopped.